Well, I thought that since I was sitting down to paint, maybe I should do a little recording of it. I'm using my my spring sketchbook that I have. It's in my my handmade journal cover. This is the one that's got this journal in it, and then there's room for several other journals in it. So I really love this setup. Anyways, so I'm going to, let's see. Yeah, I started this one last year, and then this year I just started adding to it. So these are some little things that I painted and just collaged in. There's some pressed violets from my yard. This little bird, he's not dead. He flew into my I've got a garden tent gazebo thing outside, and it's my outdoor art studio. Anyways, he flew in the door of the tent, landed on the grass, and did an abrupt turn and left again. So anyways, kind of had a hard time painting him without making him look like he was dead, but that's okay. There's a notation in here, so if anybody looks through my books one day, they're not going to be like, oh, why is there a dead bird in there? More collage, some little plants that have started popping up in my garden, some artwork by one of my granddaughters, and then just some little bits of journaling and plant picking, and the painting I did yesterday, and today I'm working on a little bird. And I have an assortment of watercolor paper and mixed media paper in this little book. So, and it's great because it slides right into the cover of this journal, the cover that I made. Oh, this one too, I had started, sorry. I'm supposed to be painting a picture. Anyways, this was another little journal that I made, and we've got a park nearby here, and there's a boardwalk with kind of marshy land around it. So yeah, there's some little poofy cattails and a little bird. This was a pheasant that was in a maple tree in my backyard, and so here I invited a pheasant to dinner. He declined. And then this one was also along the boardwalk where there was a creek, and then we had some geese there. I apologize to a goose today. I was riding my bike through there, and he blended in so well with the surroundings. I almost nailed him on my bike. Anyway, so I apologize. This one, elephants in the sky. They're Canadian geese. When migrating Canada geese come back in the spring, they land on rooftops and they sound like a herd of elephants. They really do. It's crazy. Anyways, and this was a little quail that I had in my yard, and some sunflowers that we picked. They're these beautiful wild yellow flowers that grow like crazy around here. So anyways, that was that. And then this is a map of the provincial park that we stayed at. So really nice little place. I think we stayed on this end here. Yeah, in this number 8, this little, and there was a little path that went right down onto the beach right there. Really beautiful campground. Anyways, that's that. Let's paint this bird. So I used some Inktense pencil, or not Inktense, Graphitint. They're Derwent Graphitint pencils, and I just did a little bit of coloring in there. I used the meadow, and this one's green gray. So it doesn't look like anything when you, just kind of looks like slightly tinted graphite. And you know, so it doesn't really look like there's much variation there, if you can see what I'm doing. This one's chestnut. You see like a little bit of variation in color. This one's sage. And then when you get them wet, you can see the colors are more vibrant. They're really beautiful pencils. So what I've been doing is using a teeny bit of white gouache, and so I've painted my bird with the ink or the graphitint, and then just adding the white gouache in there. And because it's matte, it's easy to go back over if you want to add more pencil or whatever other supplies, right? So I love how it just wakes up the colors. And it's beautiful if you just use water, but I don't know, I've really been enjoying just using the white paint to kind of blend the graphite in. And this works really well with watercolor pencils too, and of course the ink tints. So yeah, the brush I'm using is it's a Mongolian Sable by Dynasty, and it's called a bright, so the bristles are kind of short and square, and I do not remember what size this is because it's flaked off the paintbrush. So, but I really love it because it's soft, but it's also kind of scrubby. Yeah, they used to carry like a faux raccoon brush, and I haven't been able to find it. So anyways, they sent me a set of these ones, Mongolian Sable, to try them out, and oh, I absolutely love them, but I haven't been able to source them anywhere. I don't know where to get them other than straight from the company, which they don't sell straight from the company. I don't think they sell to retailers. So I haven't been able to find them at retailers. So I'll have to do an in-depth search, I guess. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna do some painting in the background here while I wait for this paint to dry. And let me see, I was using a paint yesterday. This was a handmade watercolors that I had bought on Etsy, and I'll leave a link below because, oh my gosh, they're absolutely beautiful. I'm just going to close up my gouache for now so that it doesn't dry out and I waste it. Where is that palette? These are made by Elena's Watercolors and www.elenasartpages.com. So I will put the link down below. I'm not 100% certain what these colors are. This one was in a palette. There was a color that I had substituted. This was like a volcano. Oh, I can't remember what it was called. I'll see what I can find and list what I remember down below, but this was a color that was in the palette. It's like a gray green. Absolutely love that. Am I in frame? And then there was this one. This one has like a bit of a shimmer, but I think all the ones in this palette have a slight shimmer to them. Really intense colors. Lots of pigment in her paints. Are they the most lovely colors? Oh, I love them so much. And she's really lovely to deal with too. This was the off color that I had. I really can't remember what that was. But I think it was like a small batch kind of thing that, so I had grabbed that one while she had it. Aren't those, oh, they're absolutely glorious. Anyway, so I think I'll probably turn these all into like little stones after. Let's turn them into stones now. This is how I paint. I'm very unfocused. They're just such lovely paints. We're going camping this weekend, so, well, not this weekend. This week. Anyway, so I'm going to bring these with me because these are such great colors for wild landscapey kind of. I'm not very good at doing landscapes, but I like doing things like stones and, you know, birds, flowers, things like that. See, they blend in there beautifully with these other stones that I had painted. Yeah, just, you know, a little bit of wet makes, you know, really beautiful textures. The light shimmer in there really looks like, you know, you pick up a rock out of the lake and the sun hits it and it's just got that slight shimmer to it. That's what that kind of reminds me of. That's just the easiest way in the world to make stones. I love it. And then you can go back in and dry brush or add pencil or whatever, neo colors, neo arts. Let's see. And if you get it right, these colors can be actually very granulating. Let me show you up close here. Oops. Take that out. Actually, I should just take that whole thing out and put the book aside. That's better. Aren't they absolutely gorgeous colors? Oh, they're so intense. I have to say, out of all the watercolors I've ever bought, those are my favorites. They're my absolute favorite. Okay, calm down. Let's get a line frame. Let's get this out of the way. I have a tendency to bring my book towards me, and then I watch my videos later and it's like this, and anyway, I'm going to try not to do that to you. These are some beautiful little brushes that one of my sons bought for me. They're little travel brushes, and they come in this little case, and they're absolutely beautiful. This one, oh, they're that I don't know how to pronounce it. Fuumuui, Fuumuui. I'll list those down below too. He bought me these a couple of years ago, and they used to be not a bad price at all. And I've noticed that Amazon has, well, their prices are doubled and tripled now, so I guess that's a sign of the times at the moment. But yeah, I've had these for at least 2 years, and the tips are still lovely. And I am terrible with my brushes. I am the worst brush mother. But they're still lovely, and they still come to a nice point. So I've been really happy with these. Very lovely brushes. Let's see. What colors do I want to put in here? I'm just going to let's go with this one. Maybe add a bit of this. This watercolor paper is the handmade Khadi paper. It's spelled Khadi. I'm so bad with pronunciations, but whatever. Add a bit of that beautiful purple in there too. It's a really textured paper. Typically I like to use, fairly smooth papers, but sometimes, I mean, it shouldn't really matter if you like really textured, paints and like, I love mixed media. Like, I started out when my kids were little with watercolor, and I don't know, botanicals, and oops, I'll have to go in and fix his beak in there later. But I just couldn't stay interested. Anyways, and then I discovered, as the internet became more popular, I discovered mixed media, and boy, oh boy, oh boy. So you would think that textured paper would be right up my alley, but okay, tell me if this is weird. If I texture it myself, I like it. But if it's already textured when I purchase it, I don't like it. Is that weird? I think that's a little bit weird, but whatever. We like what we like, right? Look at how that runs in there so lovely. Oh. Oh, what color was I using? Like, I can still get in between the wings with this large brush. Or in between the feathers. I find it a little bit difficult to chat while I'm painting, but I've seen that a lot of people do voiceovers, and I don't know. I should probably give that a try, but after I've done the video, mentally, I'm finished with it. So it would end up being a video with just nothing, which is not a bad thing either. It's nice to just have, I think I've got one where I just have bird song in the background, and personally I really like that. But I also like to hear people yapping while they're working, so yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag here. I would be really impressed with myself if I could just bring, say, one book, the travel paint brushes, and those paints. But I don't know if I'm brave enough to leave the rest of my art supplies at home. Gosh, I love this greeny gray color. Oh. Wow, these colors just look so fabulous together. We'll let that dry for a minute. I have some more of her colors that I really love. Where's that other palette? Let me see if I can find it. I had... Oops, sorry, Wally. I'm gonna run over my little cat with my rolly chair. I had a palette box that I had taken outside because I carry my art supplies back and forth in and out of the house, which gets a little bit exhausting, but I haven't abandoned you completely. I don't know where that palette is. Oh, it's probably in one of my art bags. Huh. Oh, sad. Well, I can do another video and just show you with colors. I'll do that. We'll do a separate video and do that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I'm also, I want to, let's do some water just kind of coming up to the stones. And then when this has dried, I could go in and do some little pebbles. Let's do that. If I use gouache, I can go in later with watercolor over it. Well, acrylic gouache. So let's see. Some of these are drying out a little. There we go. I've got these cute little palettes from Temu, and they come with they fit together like this, and this is a little water bucket that unfolds like this, and I have been really happy with these. A friend of mine got them too, and she only put a teeny bit of her paints in them, and what happens is there's space for the paints to evaporate, the moisture to evaporate from your paints if you don't keep them fairly full, and then they will dry out even with the silicone lid on there. So if you keep them fairly full and keep them damp, if you haven't been using them, then I've had these in here since last June. I think I ordered those last June. So I've had paints in those for a year. I keep topping them up, but some of those paints have been in there for a full year. And they've been fine. Let's get a brush that would make good little stones. Yeah. Ooh. So this was a raccoon brush that I had that has been worn down to a nice little tip. This one too, they're pretty worn, but I really like them. And this one, that's a really good one for stones. Okay, let's put some little stones in there. I'll just some in there. And just add a bit of another color for some variation. I like to go in later with the Graphitint pencils and add some shading around these stones, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So much for the bird. Painting pebbles is insanely fun though, especially when you see the page coming together. My friend, she got some really good photos. She bent down close to the shore, and then she took a photo like looking this way up from the rocks, and oh my gosh, I should post that on Instagram. That was a good photo. I'll ask her if I can do that. It's a good reference photo. We're in BC, Canada, in the Okanagan, and it's a semi-arid desert area, which is really cool because there's some beautiful, you know, green trees and lush kind of areas, and then there's the more barren, but we have a lot of lakes out here, which is really fabulous. Let's put some variation in these. Okay, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch the whole process of me filling up a page with stones, because I can see where that could become pretty boring. But why don't we do a bit of work on that bird? Let's use let's do his little eye. This page is kind of soaking wet, so this is eye. Using a page to clean your brush off on or test some colors is a really good way to start a pebble page. So I have to be careful because I have a tendency to overdevelop my paintings. I'm trying to get away from extreme detail. That's the way I learned how to paint, and I prefer more kind of fun mixed media. Now, I already mentioned that, but like a little bit of color detail helps kind of establish some shape and weight in a painting. So, you know, that's why we're going to go back in here and add some marks Just blend a little bit of that watercolor with some white gouache. And his beak is too, be careful I don't make his beak too big there. Oh, I'm doing it. I'm just add a little touch of this bit of color in there. That's too much, but that's okay. You know what? I'm gonna leave that there because this is supposed to be just inaccurate. It's supposed to be that way. I'm going to figure out his little feet later. We'll let this dry and I will just add the little shaping in there for now. And then I'll show you a bit of, let's do some shading around the stones. Now I've got all my paintbrushes out. Let's see. I have I don't know if you've ever seen them, but it's a stabilo pencil. They're you can dip them in water. They're sort of like a watercolor pencil, but way more intense. So, like you can do something like that, right? And then take a wet paintbrush and be really careful because they can be really, really intense in color, right? And you can use them, you can use your finger to smear them. You can get like a really good smear with these. It's great. Or you can use your Graphitint pencils to do the shading, or watercolor pencils, or you can use more watercolor to do it. There. So you get the idea there. It's a good way to add a bit of depth to your paintings. You can use a soft brush just to lay some water down on top of it, on top of your speckles, and that will give you some more texture there. Isn't that a fun way to do a little beach scene? Yeah, that helps to make it look a little bit watery. There, just maneuver the water around a bit with the pencil. So, okay, I'm gonna leave it at that, so you don't have to sit here and watch this whole arduous process, which I really love doing. But yeah, you can see how great pencil. This is great pencil. Aquarelle, stabilo, paper, glass, plastic, metal. So I'll list that. I'll list the supplies that I used down below, and I'm going to continue working on this little journal spread and get ready for camping because we're leaving tomorrow. So excited. Okay, you guys have fun today, and I will hopefully have some video for you when I get back. Okay, take care. Bye.